What's up YouTube? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today's video we're going to be talking about flipping cars. Now it's been a while since we did a video like this, so I figured I'd give you a more updated version of how we actually flip cars, some of the strategies we use as far as buying cars, fixing them, and which ones to retail and which ones to send to the auction. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a breakdown process of what we actually do. We are actually outside live, so you're going to hear a little bit of noise and everything else. So if it's a little bit loud, I apologize, but hey, this is YouTube, right? We got to make it happen. So anyways, before I get into the video, if you could do me a huge favor and gently squeeze the like button for the YouTube algorithm, it helps me find more amazing people like yourselves and enjoy automotive content. Also, please consider subscribing. We do post 3 times a week, so make sure you click the notification bell. And once again, follow us on Instagram at automotive.life, and let's get into the video. Now, before I get into the video, I just want to give another reminder. We are giving out another consultation call on Monday morning. All you have to do to qualify for this is put a comment in the section below. So if you want to ask me a question about the car business, how I flip cars, you want to put toast, I'd buy that for $1, any type of questions, like I said, put them down there. You qualify automatically. So make sure you stay tuned for Monday, because we are going to be notifying you guys of the winner on Monday morning. So without any more shameless plugging, let's go ahead and get into the video. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to walk you through all the vehicles that we have here and kind of tell you my explanation on what I'm doing and how we set them up. So this way, as you start your car flipping journey, whether you flip 1 car or 2 cars, you can scale up and do something like this where you have, upwards of 60, 70 cars. So the first thing we do is almost like triage. We line up all the cars here and basically kind of go through each one mildly just to see what's wrong with the vehicle. We go through, if it starts, if it runs, if there's any type of mechanical issues, anything major. So this way we know where to place them. So pretty much what we do is just a perfect example. Like this car runs and drives. So we're going to go ahead and pull this one in the shop. This one we're probably going to put on the video. This one right here, as you can tell, it probably doesn't run. If you look inside here, you can see that it's completely smashed. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take this particular car and go ahead and move it to the back of the space. You want to basically do almost like triage, where if the car is easy to fix, we move it up to the front here, and basically everything back there is either ready for auction or retail. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to move this car to the back, but let's keep rolling, see what we got here. We got a nice truck with some side damage here, not too bad. So a lot of people think that starting out and flipping cars is very expensive. It's not too bad, especially when you start more affordable cars. Like here's a CRV I think we bought for like 800 bucks. As you can see, it's kind of smashed up, but that's okay. We're definitely gonna make some money on this one. We got this beautiful Focus. Actually, somebody already gave us a deposit on this one today. Shout out to Brittany if you're watching. This car is already spoken for. We just fixed this one up. We just got to smog it and get it ready, but that's pretty much it. We got this beautiful Infiniti. This one's probably going to go out to Spencer. Shout out to Spencer if you're watching this. This is the Infiniti. Don't look at it right now. It's a little dirty. We got this Honda Pilot. Broken window, not too bad. We got another Highlander. We got a minivan. We actually took the doors off because the vents are bad. I'm going to walk over here. We got the Mustang, which I'm supposed to build, but we're going to leave that for another day. We got an Infiniti, or excuse me, a Nissan Pathfinder. Ford Explorer, some other stuff. And then if you can kind of look and see, we have a whole bunch of cars right here. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to walk back towards this way, and then I'm going to pull out the camera and point it towards myself and give you more of an explanation of what we're going to do. So one of the reasons why I'm showing you guys these particular cars is, yes, we do sell a lot of expensive cars and we do flip highline cars, but today's video is really to educate people on buying just regular cars for, $1,500, $2,000, something that everybody can get started with. And that's what we want to do on this channel, is help you get started in your automotive journey. Now, I can take you to the auction. I can show you how we buy these beautiful green light cars and all these amazing cars with low miles, and we flip them for a quick $2,000, $3,000, but it's not really feasible for the regular person. Or if you're a new maybe dealer starting out, new wholesaler, or you're just a guy in your backyard trying to flip some cars for some extra money. Now these cars right now that I'm going to show you, there's nothing here we paid over $3,000 for. So all the cars that I just showed you right now, we didn't pay more than $3,000 for any of them. Like this Volkswagen Passat, it's a 2015, it's wrecked in the front end. As you guys can see from the video, it was completely mangled. But one of the reasons why we bought it is we're gonna pull the front end out, see if we can get it running. If we can get it running and driving, I know I could take it to Copart and probably sell it between anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000. Now, is that life-changing money? No, but will it pay your bills or mortgage? Yes, and that's the purpose of this video. Now, we're going to go over some of the thresholds of how we basically pick out cars and how we decide which one's going to get fixed, which one's going to get sent to auction, and how the pricing all works. So this particular car right here, like this Volkswagen, like I said, we're actually going to pull out the front end, we're going to get it running and driving and see how bad it is, and then we're going to price out some of the parts, the airbags and everything else, because this is a clean title. I think it's got like 80,000 miles. So if we wind up fixing it, this thing could be possibly worth $12,000 to $15,000. But do we want to waste the time and the money and everything else, or make a quick dollar? And these are some of the assessments we're going to balance out as we kind of do this. Now, what I'm going to do now is we're going to go into the shop. I'm going to pull out a few cars and kind of go through them and give you a synopsis of pretty much how we buy them and what we look for. Now, before I actually go into the shop, I want to go over a few ways on how we get our cars. So all the cars you see behind me are stuff that I purchased from actual people and vendors. Only about one of these cars that you see behind me was actually purchased at an auction. So for all the people saying, oh, well, you got to be a dealer to get deals and you got to do this, that is completely not true. As a regular person, you can buy about 80 to 90% of these vehicles that you have behind me. I talk about how we buy them from, you know, Facebook, OfferUp, Craigslist. We run ads for Cash for Cars. Now, one of the things we really preach is building your network so you don't have to chase cars. Now, don't get me wrong. You're going to get on Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, and call those people and everything else. But your whole goal is to build a network so cars can come to you. And that's what we have done. And so one of the things that I tell people is you basically want to buy about $1,000 worth of donuts and start handing them out to everybody that is in the automotive industry, whether they're a title loan store, pawn shop, auto repair shop, body shops, mechanics, other car flippers, brokers, whoever it is, show up to their door. Hey, my name is Bob Smith. I buy cars. Here's some donuts. Do you have anything I can look at? If they say no, no problem. Thank you so much for your time. Leave a card, leave. Come back the next week. Hey, I was just touching base seeing if you guys had anything. Keep doing this and I promise you it'll pay dividends because people will start calling you. Now, if you've seen a few of the cars behind me, a lot of these cars I buy in bulk. So like that Volkswagen Passat, did I want that car? Not so much, but to get these other 10 cars that I purchased with it, yes, it definitely gonna pay. Plus the vendor likes using me because I don't go out and cherry pick all these good cars. A lot of these wholesalers, car flippers and brokers, they don't like you guys because you only pick out the cherries and they're stuck with some of these other buckets trying to get rid of them. So one of my suggestions is when you start this business, go ahead and buy everything. I know it's gonna be tough financially, but I promise you it pays massive dividends because when I go out and buy, sometimes we'll buy $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 of cars at a time and we'll be able to double, if not triple our money. Sorry, you can hear that thing in the background there. They're getting ready to start an old engine. But that's one of the things that you can do to maximize your profit. Now, when you first start out and you're just a regular guy, try a lot of the tow yard auctions. Those are really great places where you can get affordable cars for cheap and be able to get some really great deals. But make sure you go a few times before you actually purchase a car. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're go inside the shop, and I'm actually going to roll in a few cars, and we're going to talk about some of the things we look for and our process on actually diagging the cars, figuring out if they're worth fixing, and everything else. Let's go ahead and go inside. All right, we're going to start off with the Audi TT. This is a 2001, and usually the first thing we do is we walk around the car and we see what's wrong with it. So as you can see, the paint's oxidized. Right here we got a chunk of the bumper cover missing, so we got to replace that. We look at the back end, not too bad, just a lot of oxidized paint. Missing the filler cap. Body looks pretty straight over here. Now we're going to go inside, we're going to do an interior inspection. Door panel's not the greatest. We got some interior parts missing right here. If you can kind of see the inside, doesn't look too bad, but we're gonna go ahead and lift up the seat and see how bad the seat looks. Okay, it's got some holes in it. Let's take this thing off, look underneath here, throw this away. There we go. All right, so there's the seat. We took the cover off. We got a little bit of wear here, there, so it's not too bad, but either buy some better seat covers or repair that. So let's go ahead and put the key in there, start it up, and we'll see what's gonna happen. All right, we turned on the car, but for some reason it's not starting. The battery is dead, so we're gonna go ahead and pop the hood. All right, so here's the engine. Looks pretty good. Don't see a whole lot. If you look right here, this is a common thing on these Audis. You can see a lot of the fusible links have been burnt or got some corrosion and damage, which causes resistance. So that'll have to be fixed or addressed, but we'll worry about that once we get it started. So let's go ahead and grab the jumper box, which weighs about 1,000 pounds. I tell everybody, if you're gonna be doing car flipping, buy one of these jumper boxes. This is not only 12 volt, but it's 24 volt. This thing's amazing. All right, as you can see, we hooked up the jumper box. We only got 3.7 volts. Boom. Now we got 12 volts. Let's go ahead and start it up. Cycle the key again. Uh-oh. There you go. Now she's purring. So let's go ahead and try to focus in here and I'll show you. So we're working with, let me see how many miles that is. 192,000. Wow. This thing's a high miler. We got the security light flashing there. Sounds okay. We're going to go ahead and pull it in the shop and we're going to start our process. So we have the TT inside the shop. What we're going to do right now is we're going to go over all the safety and mechanical concerns first, because you never want to spend money in the wrong places. Now here in the state of Nevada, you got to pass emissions, which is smog. So that's our #1 priority. So first we're going to take care of all the safety stuff. We're going to check the brakes. We're going to check, you know, all the control arms, everything else, to make sure nothing flies off while we're driving. After that, the next thing we're going to do after safety is emissions, and we're going to work our way backwards. And as we do this, we're going to figure out the cost of what it's actually going to cost to fix it, everything else, and give ourselves a budget. After that part is done, then we're going to see what we bought it for, what it's worth, and how much we can actually get for it. And that's what's going to determine our factors. So we already walked around this car. It's not too bad mechanically, believe it or not, with 190,000 miles. It's going to need a few small gaskets here and there. I'm estimating about maybe $200 to $300. But the big thing on this one is cosmetics. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to do a write-up, which I'm going to show you guys on what we do on every single car. So this way you follow the process. Because I tell everybody, writing on a piece of paper is easy, but we want to see it every day. And also, I let the guys that are also working on some of the cars know as well. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the camera. We're going to come over here and I'm going to show you how we actually figure it all out. So what we're going to do now is just do a preliminary inspection of when it comes to checking out your vehicles. Now, everybody knows the basics. You know, we want to do a first overall look, see if we notice anything that's really bad, whether you see maybe corrosion from the antifreeze coming out, a lot of excess oil, blowback, blow-by, anything like that. So we're going to go ahead and look. All the vacuum lines look good. I don't see any loose hose clamps. We're going to go ahead and we're going to check the oil. Now, one of the tips that I usually tell people is, you know, we always look at it and people are like, okay, it looks good, you know, but I like to take it a step further. So what I do is I always get either white napkins or white cloths. It's very important. I'll show you why. So first we're going to wipe it just to see how much oil we're working with. Okay, so this one's actually a little bit low, but it's no big deal. We're going to go ahead and dip it again. We'll go ahead and pull it out. We're going to wipe the oil on this rag. All right. So now that we did this, the reason why I want a white one is so we can see the color contrast of what everything is. Plus what we're going to do is I'm going to use my phone and we're going to point a light at it to see if there's any metallic flakes in the actual oil. Now I'm looking at it right now. I don't see any type of metallic flake, which is a good sign, so we have no bearing wear. I see a little bit of residue. Okay, so this basically tells me that at one point in time, these guys didn't change their oil at all. It smells pretty bad. The good news is it doesn't smell like gas, so they weren't flooding it, didn't have any type of fuel injection issue. Now, this one obviously sticks, so we're not going to check that, but we're actually going to check the coolant. And there's a few things we're going to check when it comes to this. We're going to look at the actual reservoir itself, not just the liquid inside of it. Because what happens is a lot of people look down, they see, okay, it's good to go, no problem. But what I like to do is I actually like to take one of these cloths, usually with my finger, and I'll rub it in the inside, and then I'll run out. So even though the water is clear, I don't know if you guys can see that, you can see all the different types of residue, brown, white, green. So what this lets me know is that whoever owned this did not use the correct coolant. They used multiple different ones. And what happens is when you put green coolant with maybe orange coolant or red coolant or whatever else, it starts to gel. It turns into jello and it clogs up your system. So now that we've seen this, I'm actually going to go ahead and put that we need to flush the entire cooling system. So we're actually going to take out the thermostat. We're going to flush out the block. We're going to flush this out. Just to make sure it's safe for the next person that we sell it to, so we don't have any issues, you know. And then we talked earlier about the fusible link right here. This is definitely a safety concern. All this corrosion, everything else. Every time you see corrosion, even though you don't think it's that bad, resistance causes issue with voltage. So that's where you get check engine lights. Sometimes when these fusible links are bad, you actually get knock sensors, turbo sensors, different lights coming on, even though it's just the incorrect voltage. So you want to make sure that these are cleaned up and correctly done. Now, we already found one of these junkyard for 10 bucks, so we're going to clear this off and replace this one. Also, with resistance, causes heat. So we let this run for only a few minutes, and this is actually pretty hot. That's one of the reasons why we put on the gloves. So that's one of the reasons why we want to check that and get rid of it as much as we can. So overall, everything looks pretty good. We don't have any major issues. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put it up in the air, we're going to look underneath, and then we're going to go over some numbers and figure out what we're working with. So now we're going to do a numbers breakdown to give you guys an idea of how we think and how we filter our cars. So we're into this car, $900. Now I tell everybody this is what we like to do. We like to put it on the windshield so it's visual, so it lets us know. So we're at $900. We got about 191,000 miles, I think is what it was. Okay, so we're gonna put that at the very bottom. Now, right above the mileage, we like to put what these cars typically sell for. So I'm going to show you a few screenshots here to my right, and it's going to go over what these different cars are selling for. We looked at some low miles, bad miles, and some of these other things. So the market is anywhere from $300 to $4,500 for something with this kind of condition and this many miles. So we're going to put 3 to 4K. Okay. Now, as you can tell, from $900 to this number is a huge amount of money. So we got about almost $1,000 to $2,000 to play with if we want to make a certain amount of profit. Now I tell everybody, you always want to build your profit into your deal. So if your goal is to make $500 or $1,000, you need to physically put it out there. So we're going to go ahead, we want to make $1,000 on this car. So we're going to put $1,000, okay? So now we have $1,000 profit. So if we take this to this leaves us with $1,900. So from $1,900 to basically $3,000 is about $800, $900. So it's not a whole lot of money. So as looking at everything else, the biggest thing I've seen on this is cosmetic. So with the mechanical, we're looking at probably about maybe $300 in mechanical work. Paint and body, if we do a Mako special, we're looking at about $650. And we could probably retail it for around $4,000, you know? So is this buffer big enough for us to actually take on the project? And this is where a lot of people have problems when you come to flipping cars. They don't know where to stop or where to put the money in. So that's why I like to visualize and put this out here, because looking at these numbers right now, yes, there is about an $800 to $1,000 gap where I can make some decent profit, but this car's kind of rough. It needs a lot of things. So I could probably sell this as is for maybe, you know, $2,000 or $1,900 just to get rid of it, to make a quick $1,000. Clean it up, spend a few dollars washing in and out, and try to make, you know, a couple $100 free and clear. Or if you look right here, I'm going to put a link or a picture right here. We found another one that's very clean that needs a motor. So this could become a donor for the motor, and then we still have a transmission and the rest of the chassis for another vehicle. So that also plays a part. So that's something else you also want to factor in when it comes to getting a vehicle like this. So now we have an option of either selling it fixed, we could sell it as is, or we could turn it into a parts car. But wait, there is another option. After looking at this vehicle and driving it, this thing actually drives really, really well. So one of the things I'm thinking about doing is maybe making this a project car. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put a big P on here with the circle. What this does is it lets my guys know and everybody else know that this is probably going to become a project car. Either we're going to use it for parts, or we're actually going to turn it into something for the channel. Now, you guys know I have the smart car, which you can see right over here. It's actually what's lighting me. I'll turn the camera so you can see it right there. That's my studio lighting for right now. I'm actually thinking of actually building this and putting, you know, maybe a lift kit on it, doing an exoskeleton, doing something fun like that. Now, not saying this is what you're going to do when you're flipping cars, but this is just pretty much how I think about it and how I figure it out. So now that we got these numbers down, we know what we're working with. Let's go ahead and let's get on the next car, which is the Nissan Pathfinder. So we just pulled in the Nissan. We're going to go ahead and walk around it. The only cosmetic damage we see is obviously this door panel, so we're going to get a price for the door. We're looking around, seeing what else is there. I don't see anything really big. The outside looks in fairly good condition. So we're going to go ahead and look in the inside, and then we're going to pop the hood and take a look. So let's go ahead and look inside. All right, So we can see a little bit of dirt and grease on the door panel. Looks like somebody had too many Taco Tuesdays, got some skid marks in the seats. A little bit of dirtiness, but the inside is fairly clean, good shape. We'll probably send the center arm holster out for upholstery. Let's look at the back seat. Wow, the back seat's actually clean. This is a 3-row model. Back seat looks even cleaner. So all right, so we're good to go. Let's go ahead and check it out underneath the hood and see what we're working with. All right, so we popped the hood. The car does run and drive good. We took it around the block a few times, let it idle up, but there was a lot of residue right here on the radiator hose. So we decided to pop it off, and if you guys look, even though it's not leaking from the outside, it's corroding right here. So if I grab this, you can literally just break chunks off of it. So if you look at it, you can see it's basically been broken off. So even though this technically, I can kind of Mickey Mouse it, we can just kind of put the hose over it and clamp it, it'll be good, but I'd rather just replace a $110 radiator so this way the customer doesn't break down, anything else like that, so we know that's gonna be part of our cost. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna do the radiator, upper and lower hoses, thermostat, and depending on how much the water pump is, we may throw that one in as well. It's a few bucks into it, but it's definitely worth it. So what I'm gonna do right now is we're gonna go to the windshield. I kind of got an idea of what I'm gonna spend for this and how much it's actually gonna cost. So we're gonna go ahead and start on the Nissan. We purchased this vehicle for $2,200. Now, after looking at the book and everything else, there are cars that are selling similar like this between $6,000 and $7,000. Now, this doesn't happen too often. A lot of times you have this big gap, as you guys can see here. It's almost $4,000 to $5,000 in profit. But we're looking at probably a little bit of body work. So we're gonna replace the door, which is gonna be about $200, and then paint the 2 doors and blend it is gonna be another maybe $300. So we're gonna have $500 in paint. Another, let's say, $350, because we're gonna do spark plugs, radiator, thermostat, water pump, all that other stuff. So we're about $350. So total, we're probably gonna have close to, let's say, there's $1,000, there's $3,200. $3,200, okay? So we're definitely gonna make easy $1,000 on this particular vehicle. But what we might do is we might leave a gap right here to put some few bucks towards cosmetics. Like there's a little bit of a rust hole here on the dash, on the hood, a little bit of scuff marks here and there. So we're gonna leave an additional $500 just in case if we wanna put something nicer. Now, I didn't add this in the Audi TT because we don't know if we're gonna do it, but this thing definitely needs a shampoo and detailing. So we're gonna take that out of the $500. So we're gonna put $100 towards shampooing the inside, cleaning it out, because if you spend a decent amount of money polishing it, buffing it, doing the headlights and shampooing the interior, I think that we could get to that $6,000 to $7,000 marker fairly easy. If we can keep it around 65, I think that's the magic number for this particular vehicle. Now, the reason why, like I told you, I always write it out here on the board is so everybody's looking at it. So even if I miss something, and let's say one of the guys, Mario or somebody else. So I had to switch to my cell phone because the camera actually died the whole time I was talking to you guys. I don't know where it cut off, so I'm gonna find out in post. But basically, we're gonna make a pretty decent amount of money on this particular car. Now, we're gonna go over a few more cars, but it's probably gonna be about a 20-minute video, so I think we're gonna cut it here. But I just kind of wanna reflect, the shop's coming along. If you can kind of see everything there, we got the smart car, we got the Audi, we got the paint and everything else getting set up there. They got their own little filter wall with booth, and we got the rest of the lifts over there. So I wanna take this time to kind of talk a little bit about a few things. So let me go ahead and set down the camera, and I'll start the video again. So I decided to make this a 2-part series since it's gonna go a little bit longer, because I still got 6 or 7 other cars that I wanted to show you guys on breaking down the process. And each one has a little bit of something to show you. How the Audi was basically work/project/parts car. There's a few things you can do with it. We got the Nissan, which is fairly clean and everything else, and I got about 4 or 5 other cars out there. But I want to show you the different ones have different benefits and how we can either sell them, leverage them, and everything else. And also talk a little bit about the marketing aspect of it, because we're just talking about the Recon. We still got to do that. So Monday's video is going to be that. I'm going to go ahead and come with 2 charged batteries and a full memory card, so this way I can do some epic footage for you guys. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, 60,000 subscribers has been truly amazing. Thank you guys so much. I truly feel blessed. Once again, don't forget about our consulting call. All you have to do to qualify is put a comment in the section down below, and we'll go ahead and pick a winner as of Monday morning. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And like I said, part 2 is going to be on Monday. So wait for that one. We'll finish up with the video on how to flip cars and give some more depth into that particular process, as well announcing the winner. So I want to thank you guys so much. Please do me a favor and gently squeeze the like button for YouTube algorithm. Also, please consider subscribing. We do post 3 times a week, so make sure you click the notification bell. And once again, follow us on Instagram, automotive.life. We are far more popular on there. We do a lot of funny behind the scenes stuff. Also, a lot of these cars you see behind me, we do post them up for sale every now and then when we actually don't take them to the auction or sell them to a few other people. So make sure you look for that too. Definitely follow us on Instagram, and we'll see you next video.